Thanks for joining us on
You're
Living
welcome.
Inside Out. And your personality shines right through your videos. I feel like you're my friend. Like you're
Aw.
seriously, like we're sisters. You just
Yeah.
didn't know it.
You're at my wedding, don't worry.
Oh, yes, of
We don't
course.
have husband.
Oh, listen, the husband is actually in existence. We just haven't seen his face yet. That's all.
Yeah, you better come correct.
What were you like as a child?
Oh my goodness, I was shy.
Oh.
You know, I was actually I'm kind of jumping, but I was an only child to the age of 14.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
So just naturally, I'm more of like a shy, reserved, a little bit on the timid side.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's actually crazy to see, you know, what I'm doing now. And I'm like, wow, me back then, I didn't talk to anybody.
Wow. You were actually shy as a child.
Shy, yeah.
It's hard to believe.
Really?
Would you say you're an introvert or an extrovert?
Now I would say more of an ambivert. So
Okay,
when I
ambivert.
first meet someone, I think because of social media, maybe they're expecting me.
Yes.
Sometimes I feel like people expect me to come into the room doing a cartwheel and maybe doing jumping jacks. I'm like, hey, God, I'm a regular human being, but I will say I do try to. I'm personable, but you know, just like anyone else, I have to kind of see, you know, gauge this person a little bit. Once I
of
feel
course.
comfortable,
Yeah.
the madness will just come out. The people that know me, when they see the stuff I post, they're not even surprised.
They're like, oh, this is
They're
her.
like, this girl.
This is her. This is even her toned down version. That is so cool. It's funny because I think about my childhood and I was quite shy as a child as well. I'm an only girl, so I'm sandwiched between two brothers. So I've grown up with just girls, and now the way my life is, it's almost like a God trick where I have 4 sons and no daughters.
Wow.
So I don't have sisters and I don't have daughters, and I'm just not surrounded by girls at all. And I think that affected my personality.
Really? Okay.
In a way, yeah, not necessarily in a bad way, but I was shy as well as a
Yeah.
child.
At least you have, you have an older brother. For me, I had to
Yes.
just make it on
You
my
had to
own.
be
You know,
perfect
when
from
people-
day one.
Not just that, but when people, when people go to like school, right? You have your big brother ahead of you.
Yes.
You know, they kind of know some people, and so for me, I just had to. Everyone that I've met, I just met them on my own terms. You know, because I have nobody before me.
Yes,
And
yes.
so I think, I don't know, just as someone who had that only child mentality for a long time, it was just hard to not be social, but it was harder for me because I had to learn from the ground up, whereas some other people, their older sibling kind of paved the way, you know?
That's right.
Yeah.
How do you feel that that's affected you as you navigate life today?
Maybe that's why I'm doing solo traveling, because I'm just so used to my own company.
Yeah.
Now, I won't say it's just because I'm an only child, but I think that really helped.
That helped, yeah.
Yeah. Helped me become very comfortable with myself.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so and I do love the company of others, but please, if they don't show up, I'm okay.
You're fine as
I'm
well.
okay. Yeah.
It's weird because I feel like I've kind of evolved over the years. So I used to be, I would have thought I was an introvert as a child. And then as time went on, I went to boarding house. I went to boarding school in Nigeria. I clearly was an extrovert in school. I was a troublemaker. I would mimic people and all of that. But as I've gotten older now, I'm finding solace and peace and strength in my own company. Like I just feel, like you said, if we're meant to hook up and you don't show up, there's a part of me that would dance, you know?
Yeah.
I wouldn't exactly cry.
Yeah.
What's your temperament?
I feel like I'm just more sanguine
Oh,
and more reserved. It depends. Reserved.
Okay.
But then I can be, more on the,
Yeah. So
I
a
can have
mix.
with friends.
Yes,
With people
yes,
that
yeah.
I'm comfortable around.
Yeah.
But if I'm just meeting a person, I'm like, hey.
Yeah, I could tell though. I mean,
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like I said, you show through. And one of the reasons I remember saying to my husband the first time I saw your videos, and I guess it was in a season when I was sort of researching and doing an unofficial research of the term authenticity and how that plays into people's success. And I truly, truly believe that you can only be successful when you come as yourself.
Right.
And I think that you do, like you come as yourself. And so what we see is who you really are.
Yeah.
You're not afraid to make fun of yourself. You're not afraid to laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful because it's the only way that we can truly connect as human beings.
It's true. And it's just exhausting to try to be
Listen,
someone else.
honestly.
And you know, another thing that I get a lot is, you know, because I switch back and forth in my accent,
Yeah,
people think it's
that's
just something I do for social media.
But you actually,
And I'm like, this is how I talk. And for some reason, I don't think some people can't grasp that.
Yeah.
Like, why are you using two accents?
But
why are
I
you
have
not
to.
using, you know, that's just,
Yeah.
and that's how most Nigerians,
Which is very true.
it's true.
Yeah,
When you want
that's
to,
very
you know,
true.
elaborate on something, you want to be passionate,
100%,
then
yeah.
it comes out.
Yeah,
You know? But
that
some
is
people,
so true. So how long were you in Nigeria for? Because you were born in Nigeria and then you moved to Houston.
I was in Nigeria for 7 years.
And then you moved.
And then my parents just dragged me to America. Did I ask them? I didn't ask them. So they moved me here. And then I remember the first American food I tried was broccoli and cheese. I complained to my mom. I remember I cried. I was like, what is this? Broccoli and cheese. And so we moved to Dallas and we stayed with a family friend for a year.
Okay.
So because my mom had won a visa lottery.
All right.
We stayed with a family friend for a year, and she was kind of, you know, acting as, you know, like the housemaid, taking care of the kids, cooking and things like that. And I think one situation happened where maybe my mom was standing up for herself because maybe they were kind of taking advantage of her. And so she stood up for herself, and then it ended up kicking us out. Yes, like just kicking us.
Family friend.
And so my dad, he had came down at the time, and I think that was the first time I ever saw my dad like cry.
Oh, wow.
And so I just remember after we left Dallas, there was this man, I don't even know his name, but I remember him as like a good Samaritan. I think he helped my parents get us a ticket to Houston. Wow. Yeah. And so
who was in Houston?
I think this is a whole bunch of Africans, but I think he just
did they know people in Houston?
I'm sure
that
they
were gonna,
did.
Okay.
I'm sure they did. And so he was probably like, hey, let's, you know, go here. And so I just remember we started from.
Wow. Yeah. Oh my God. That's so inspiring.
Yeah.
So presumably your parents are a huge inspiration to you.
Yeah.
Would you say that they were like would you call them the single most influential people or persons in your life from childhood?
Honestly, when I really take a step back and think about it and think about their journey, because it's not easy to leave everything you've known and then you go to a new country, which is why I'm like, when I travel, my parents will be giving me, you know, they'll be like, why you're always traveling, why are you
like you should be
Colombia?
Happy here.
you took your whole family and you left
and
me, I was only in Colombia for a year. You just migrated to a whole nother country, so why are you complaining when I do something, you know? So they're brave, they're bold, they're risk takers. They don't even know.
Brave, absolutely, absolutely. And to have gone through that experience, you know, it's the difference in culture as well. So you're not just leaving to go to another country, you're leaving your culture to go to a different culture, a different society, new expectations. You don't even know how it's going to turn out, but then they did it. So well done, mom and dad.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So I mentioned about being authentic. Have you ever been in a position where you felt that being you as a person has been a disadvantage to you? Like, has it worked against you or had any?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. Even when it comes to like social media, and all I can do is be myself.
Yeah.
You know, and it just feels weird trying to be like
someone else.
It's not in me.
Absolutely.
You know, and so, no, I mean, I just take it as, if I'm being myself and somebody does not like it, then I'm just not for them.
Yeah.
And that's okay, whether it's in business, friendships, romantic relationships. And that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's not for everybody.
Absolutely. That's so true.
Yeah.
So looking at your journey, so now so you get to Houston and then you obviously settle in, you go to school and everything, and then what happens?
Okay, I go to school. Then we moved to the suburbs. I was about 16. And then I ended up going to university, of course, you know, African parents.
You have to.
They want me to be they gave me the 3 options. So, pick from one of these 3.
Doctor.
So I picked, you know, of course I picked doctor. I was like, okay. Me that does not even like to give me shots. I wasn't going to be a doctor. But it made sense for that, you know, for the time being.
Yeah.
But then later on, and I want to backtrack because while as an only child, my mom gave me a beauty mannequin. And so I would just play, you know, just do little hair stuff because who else am I going to talk to? You know, Holy Spirit. So she gave me a mannequin. And I fell in love with hair, and it kind of helped me through college as well. So after I graduated with my undergrad, I was like, you know what? I've given my parents their degree. Let me go into cosmetology. It's something I enjoy doing.
Okay.
You know, I was like, I'm gonna get licensed, and I'm gonna own this, you know, salon. And I'm gonna own my product, different things like that. And so they were not happy. They were not happy because I strayed away from the path that they had intended. And so, but I enjoyed it. And what's funny is that now that I would consider myself a retired stylist, you know, I still have love for the industry. I still love it. Love it. But it's just a different season. And now my parents are like, something again. Like, they're like, this girl, you can't stay one place. And I'm just like, life is short.
So, and you have multiple talents and gifts as well. You might as well explore them. So what are you doing now? So what would you describe yourself as now?
I would just say like a media personality, host.
Yes.
You know, and that's what I do. Content creator, host.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're ever going to go into like cosmetics and things, like producing products?
Probably.
Okay.
In the future, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Because I have a love for the hair industry, and and color is my specialty. So I wouldn't be so it's not even like I'm giving up on the hair industry. It's just like, okay, this is my season now. For this season. And this season may even fund the next season. You never know.
Absolutely. And you always have been, you're also an MC as well. Like we've seen clips of you MCing at weddings and so on. How do people find you? Like, how do they, like, what made them even think, like, obviously I know what made them think, but how do they approach you? What do they come to you with?
You know, that story is even funny because remember how I was telling you how I was just naturally a shy kid. You know, it's timid with this fear of public speaking. So I had a client one day, and so funny enough, Yvonne Orji, I remember her talking on her podcast. To mind
just now.
Oh, really?
Literally now.
Wow.
When you said shy, I literally just saw her face.
Really?
Because I remember how she got into stand-up. But anyway, continue.
She was shy?
I think she was shy, but she wasn't trying to be a comedian or anything like that. She literally fell into it because her brothers, I think, were running beauty contests, like a Miss Nigeria in the US or something like that. And they really needed more entrants. And I hope I'm not like totally butchering her story here, but they needed, and she entered for it. And then you're supposed to have your talent that you gave during the contest. And they like, you just comedy, and she's like, I don't know any jokes, and she came up with it, but she was really good. And hey, that's literally how she started.
Oh wow. I listened to the Jesus and Jollof podcast, and I remember her mentioning, you know, being a female MC, and it was just weird. I was like, and you realize, I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen one. They're all males.
You're right.
So I was like, okay, that's cool. It's just something that's stuck in the back of my mind. Like, okay, it's something I could dabble into, but then like I kind of let it go. And then I had a client one time, and I was doing her hair for her wedding, and she was going through Instagram, and she was scrolling. Now at this time, I was putting, you know, wedding MC in some of the hashtags. She was scrolling. She saw one of my videos. She was like, hey, why don't you just do it? And I was like, me? And so. It's crazy. My first wedding, I did hair and I was the MC.
And you were the MC. Wow.
And so I'm such a perfectionist that I was like, okay, you know, after I was done with her hair, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I was trying to make sure that I stuck to everything, which I did. But looking back, what I would do differently, there's a big difference from back then till now, because back then, the first wedding, I wasn't even looking at anybody. I wasn't even concerned who was in the crowd. I was just like, I need to.
You just need to make sure get it.
You know, I'm sure I would probably look at me, you know, but no, she loved it, but she was a little tipsy, so that kind of helped. But she gave me, you know, she loved it, and to this day, I still talk to her.
Oh, good.
But then after that, I just, you know, you post that one picture, and then someone sees it, or like the DJ refers you, and then it just, you know, you get clips from there, and then you just kind of keep on going.
And that's something that you obviously want to grow and you want to keep on doing.
Yeah. I remember after the first wedding, I was like, okay, you know, I was hard on myself just naturally because I'm a perfectionist. And I had to give myself grace because I'm like, this is your first time.
Yeah.
It's your first time. So I bought this book called Speak With No Fear.
Okay.
I bought a book called Speak With No Fear, and then I read it. And so I took some points, you know, and one thing I always do now, of course, showing up on time, that's a no-brainer, but even when I show up on time, when I'm done with my mic check, I go and talk to the individuals during cocktail hour. I talk to them, I compliment them. And so that way, when we get into the reception hall, it's not like I'm talking to a room full of strangers. You know, and then when you take the time out to get to know people, they tend to listen to you a little bit more.
That is so true.
And then also really just making sure that I'm prepared fully and then just relax and be myself.
Right.
And the truth is, confidence comes the more you do
it. Okay. Yeah. Those are really, really great tips. I've actually taken some myself. I'm not trying to be an MC or anything like that, but I do public speaking. And so, it's really helpful to know. Yeah. So how do your parents feel now? Like when they're watching you, you're an MC, you're an influencer, you've got this great channel or platform on social media that brings a lot of joy to people. What's their response?
You know, African parents, I feel like they don't take you seriously until you come with
the money.
The big, you know. But I will say, I don't send them my stuff anymore. If they see it, maybe it's because of family members. But they will, they were telling me one time that they went to one of their friends' house and they were showing them one of my videos, and the daughter was like, "Oh my gosh, you're Beverly's parent," you know. So you know, African parents, you know, they like.
Yes, that's my daughter.
Even if that's not something they want me to do, they want to.
Oh,
boost.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I'm sure they're proud, but you know, you gotta show them a little bit more.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm sure they still want me to go back to get masters in law, even though I've never mentioned law.
No, you haven't. No,
they
still want that. It's funny because African parents leave for their children and they carry everything on their heads, like literally even until you're in your 50s or 60s. It never stops. Like they're always, she could do better. What if she fails? What if this happens? And they carry it all with them, and they operate from a place of fear. A lot of African parents, you know.
They look at their children as investments rather than individual beings.
That's it. Exactly.
So it's kind of like, okay, I brought you to this world.
Yes.
I brought you to America. You need to, what is my return?
Yes.
What is my ROI?
Yeah.
You know?
And the ROI comes also in terms of making me proud. Like, you know, don't come and disgrace me with your
right.
You've got to.
So instead of medical school, the doctor is putting on mama's scarf and doing mama skits. I'm not spending them small.
Oh, you know, we watch your skits, and honestly, there are some of them I keep going back to, and I just really crack up because I grew up in Benin, in Benin City. So although I'm Yoruba, but I grew up in Benin City, and I'm very familiar with the ways of non-Yorubas.
Okay.
And then I schooled in the north amongst houses. So I've kind of like, I'm a bit of a national slay mama, a local slay mama. Yeah. And so I grew up in the north. And so, but when you depict that Igbo accent, it's as though you've never been on a plane in your life before. Like you've never even, you know, like you didn't even cross Imo State or Anambra State or, you know, wherever. That's literally what it sounds like. It's so on point. Like it's so on point. Yeah. And I have my favorites. One of my favorites was the one where you were on the plane and giving a giving the testimony in church. Oh my goodness, there's so many of them. But you definitely bring us so much joy.
Yeah, that makes me feel good. I love it. I love laughter, and so I look at social media as sharing laughter with like a big group of friends. Yes, it's something, you know, I share memes amongst my friends because I want them to laugh, and so it's just a bigger platform. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Challenges. How do you deal with challenges?
I don't tell people to mind their business. No. I would say when it comes to challenges, I try to see the glasses half full. And then at least I'll say, okay, what can I do? Right? As long as I know that, okay, I've done all that I can do, you know, when it comes to challenges, then the rest, please, I got no stress.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You know, I'm trying to live a life that has the least amount of stress possible. So when it comes to challenges, instead of just overthinking and stressing, I'm like, okay, let me take a step back. What am I able to do?
Yeah.
Did I do that? Okay, great. The rest, I just leave it to God.
Leave it to God, exactly. I'm kind of the same as well, although there are times I fall off the bandwagon. You know, I really try to, I journal a lot. That's my therapy. Yeah. So I write whatever the issue is that's going on in my head. I know that it has presented itself in multiple ways, but it's one problem. And so I write down everything I think is the problem. Everything I think is the challenge. And then I look at it intently, because when you take things out of your mind, it disempowers it. And it just makes it like, okay, this is just something on a piece of paper. Right. And so I write down the list of whatever I think the long list is, and go through each one and ask myself, is this fact or is this an assumption? And most of the time it's an assumption. Like, I've just imagined that, oh my goodness, like I run my own business, and London right now, the United Kingdom right now, is going through some serious challenges.
My sister.
Right. Honestly, like we've had, I guess the first blow was Brexit. The fact that, and it affected small businesses like ours. So Brexit was the first, pandemic was first, which was everyone, and then Brexit. And then we've had the war in Ukraine, which is affecting gas and petroleum and everything. And then we've had the Queen died. And then we have a new king.
London needs a nap.
Right. And then we've also got a new prime minister, and who just sacked the guy.
Let him go.
Yeah. So it feels like our country is in a lot of pain at the moment. And I find that I have to separate myself, disassociate myself from the pain. Otherwise, it also becomes my pain and affects my life.
Right.
Because taking on other people's problems does not really doesn't solve their problem unless you're actually doing something about it. Right. And so to take on the challenges and put it on my head as though I'm now prime minister is not going to do anybody any good, and is going to destroy me. So I just kind of, let's separate ourselves from it and focus on our own growth and our own, and see what we can do. Ooh. I know.
You can only do so much, please.
Right. Honestly, we really can. So what inspires you today?
What inspires me? I think really my family, especially my family back home as well. My two aunties, they inspire me to just keep going. And so, sometimes there's some things you may not be able to talk to your parents about, and so I talk to them. But also the fact that just life is short, and I want to inspire others too. So that kind of keeps me going. And some of the things that we tend to worry about, it's like when you get to the end of your life, if you're able to, live a long life, you look back and you'd be like, that wasn't really as big as what I thought,
True.
So,
absolutely. Yeah. What was it that made you move to Colombia?
Cost of living? No. I actually wanted to live overseas for a year.
Oh, right.
Just by myself. So I studied abroad in Spain when I was an undergrad. And so I would stay there for about 3 months. Okay. And it was my first time going to a place that wasn't Nigeria or the United States. And so I went, and I was actually very scared to go. But then I was like, you know what, let me just do it. So I went, and I realized, wow, this world is big. Yeah. There's a lot to see and do. And then just traveling just opens up your mind. And so I was staying with the host family at the time. And so I was like, you know what, when I graduate, I want to live overseas for 1 year by myself. Initially, I was going to go to Germany. I was going to go to Germany. And I fell in love with Colombia because I came for my 26th birthday. And so I was like, I like Colombia. And then my minor was Spanish. And so I was like, okay, I can kill two birds with one stone, practice my Spanish. I love the Spanish culture, and then just live. And the cost of living was pretty good too.
Pretty good. Yeah. What was it like?
It was fun. I love Colombians. I love their culture. They could do a little bit better with the spice.
It was very spicy.
No, it wasn't.
Enough. Oh
no!
I would have thought that they were almost on par with.
I was thinking of Mexican.
Yes.
Colombians don't do spice.
What?
Salt and sometimes even black pepper is even even too hot.
That's a sin.
There was only this one market that I would go to on Tuesdays to get the pepper that I really liked. So I had to just pack it and freeze it. I said, like, I don't live like this.
Wow.
But it was nice. I met some great individuals, and I lived this simple life.
I was just going to ask what a day in your life was like while you were there.
Day in my life. So I would wake up by like 6:25 and I would go to my workout. So that was like my main thing. I worked out with this group. They were like a team, and then like the trainer just allowed me to work out with them. So I worked out with them. Okay. I would come home around like maybe 10:30, and then I would probably take a nap because my body was just exhausted. Get up, check emails, go to a cafe, things like that, and then come back, cook. So it was really simple. That was pretty much it. Weekends, I would socialize with like other expats or like fellow Colombians that I've met. And that was it.
Wow.
Simple.
That is simple.
I like that.
That sounds like the sort of baseline you want your life to, like that should be your absolute minimum. Like I'm not falling below that.
No. I love the simple life. I desire, you know, it's crazy. I used to think the simple life would be more boring. 'Cause it sounds like, oh, you're not out here jet setting and doing all this. No, but I'm here. I'm working out. I'm making time to cook. I'm making time to spend time with people that mean a lot to me, and that's what I want.
Yeah.
So wherever God takes
Yes.
this whole thing, at the end of the day, that's good. Let me go and do my assignment. But when I come back, let me just have my simple life.
Have your
Let me have a
simple
garden, and I'm, you know, growing my peppers and whatever. Nobody should disturb me. You know, and I spend time with family.
That's good.
Yeah.
That sounds like a dream.
Yeah.
That sounds like a dream.
It's not every time entrepreneur, please. Sometimes rest.
Do you ever get kind of tired? So you're a content creator, and I know you enjoy it. Are there times you're like, oh, this is a drag? Are you ever that way, or you're just...
About creating content? Not really. And I think it's because I set boundaries. So I don't post according to what people feel like I should post. I post what I want to post and when I want to post.
When you want to. Yeah. That's interesting.
Because I mean, I don't know. I don't sit at a desk and say, what can I come up with now?
Yeah.
And, no, I just let it comes naturally. When it comes naturally, I write it down in my notepad. And then when it's time, I give myself enough time, I'll film it.
How long does it take you to film one of your skits?
It depends, because some are quicker than others. But I would say maybe like 3-ish hours, depending on how many characters I'm playing. Yeah. You know, so if it's like maybe 2 characters, like 3 hours to, you know, go through everything.
Oh my god.
But it's not too bad. It's not too bad.
I love your characters.
Oh, thanks.
I love I can't remember what her name is. The one who
Florence.
No, not Florence. Florence is the one that
with the Bluetooth.
Yeah.
I need to bring her back.
Sister Florence.
Yeah, she's the bougie one.
She's Sister Florence. And then there's Amaka's mom. Which one's Amaka's mom?
Well, Sister Agnes.
She's Sister Agnes. One. Yeah. Okay, Sister Agnes is the main one.
Yeah.
And then Florence. Okay, yeah. And then you had those two. And there was
and the braider.
Oh, yeah.
The braider with the stomach.
With the stomach. Yeah, am I not the one who made this? It was me. I started this hairstyle. Yeah. Original Beyonce. Yeah. No, that was great. I mean, I can imagine just how fun it must be. I think that we're all gifted naturally, and I think we can't be truly happy unless we're using our gifts. Or maybe I should reward that and say, when you're forced to use gifts that are not yours, it's draining.
For me, it's just like, you know, I'll get messages and people be like, oh, can you post about African moms when this happened and they do this? And, you know, what they're saying is not bad, but it's not mine. It's not my idea. And I say, okay, well, I mean, I'll put it in my back pocket if I think of something.
Yeah. If I can spin it in a way that I can see how it applies to me. Yeah.
If I get something, yeah. But if I don't, then I don't force it.
So people actually do that. They send you.
And they don't mean.
No, it's sweet. Yeah.
And so sometimes I'm like, why don't you do it? But you know, some people are shy. And so even with brands too, if they're asking me to do something and I feel like this does not line up with my brand or my value, then I won't do it.
Then you won't do it.
Doesn't make sense. If I don't feel like I'm gonna be, I'll be able to be my authentic self and do it, because the more authentic I am, the more views you're gonna get. So it works out for the both of us. But if it's something I have to force, I don't do it.
Yeah, I hear you. Absolutely.
Because people can tell.
People can tell.
And
people can tell. And I think that the world is becoming even more attuned to falsehood and fakeness and all of that. Like we can, maybe because of social media, I don't know, but the minds of people these days are, some people actually wake up looking for the fake. You know, they're not even looking for the originality. Like, how is this fake? How is this not real? And I do think that we can't place value on being ourselves, being authentic. I mean, we can't price it, is what I should say. There is no number you can put on the value of that.
And you can see it with the rise of like TikTok. I don't know if you're on there, but you'll see how a lot of people will say, oh, Instagram is dead and Instagram is going out, because with Instagram there is this expectation, like you have to come here, you know, perfect. But on TikTok you have all kinds of people, you know, they're in their night scarf and they're just talking and they're getting thousands of views because they're just, you know, being themselves. But I think Instagram kind of puts a little bit of that pressure on people. I mean, well, they allow it to. If you don't allow it to, it is what it is. But it's just kind of like, okay, you have to come perfect. All your pictures have to be face tuned and Photoshop.
You're right.
Please, I'm not doing all that.
Yeah.
Even with filters.
I mean, you don't need filters. If you're listening on the podcast, I need to describe Beverly's skin to you. It is glowing with a capital G.
Thank you.
Like
thank
literally glowing. Like
you.
it's beautiful skin.
Thank you.
You're a filter on your own, so you don't need others.
No, I don't even really allow myself to do, the ones on, it's funny, I got on Snapchat just yesterday, and I don't even use it, but I was like, why is every filter making my nose smell? I don't want, please, leave my nose. That's how I get my oxygen. Leave my nose, please. I don't want. And it's crazy that people really rely on that, and then that's what warps your mind.
It does. It really does.
I don't even want to.
No, it really does. I mean, because you now have to look at yourself in the mirror and find. I mean, it's the same effect. I wear glasses and I wear contacts sometimes, but I don't like wearing contact lenses. So of course, if I've got a nice day out or something or evening out, I'd wear my contacts. And whenever I put them on, the world just looks like it was washed, like with Omo detergent and blow dried and everything. It looks like so clean.
Yeah.
And everything I can see is so perfect. Feels like I've got new eyes on. Nighttime comes and I take them off, and the disappointing feel that the world is blurry, it's a bit gray. And so I can imagine that that's what people will feel like if they only ever leave on filters and only ever want to present themselves in a way that's not natural. And then let's not even go into the toll it takes on the mental health as well. And it's even affecting the next generation way worse than
And I think just with being a woman, specifically, it's like for me, I create boundaries with that too. I'm like, I don't want to filter my pictures. If anything, let me blur the background so I can pop more. But I don't even want to go into that because I don't want to look at myself and think, oh, my nose, leave my nose.
Just leave it.
The way my nose is, that's how it's supposed to be. Allow me to breathe, please.
Right.
It's just crazy what it's doing to the younger generation. And I'm just like, I don't even want to allow myself to get there. And as a woman, you're seeing all these images and, you're comparing yourself. And I feel like you really have to be intentional about being like, you know what, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm fine, know. And a lot of these individuals, they're not what they seem like as well,
So
and
true.
So I'm like,
like you said, we're all uniquely created. We're all different,
We're not robots.
Your nose is exactly how your nose is supposed to be. Your head is the shape it's meant to be. And it's okay for it to be that way. And I think that if you start to use other people's appearances as a standard, that's just the starting point. Because it means that your goals and your ambitions would be deviated to mirror someone else's. You would use them or use people. And I know that I've fallen prey to that as well in business, where I've looked and said, oh my goodness, how come she's doing all of these rooms for all of these celebrities and I'm not? And intentionality, like I had to be intentional. So as a rule, I don't look at my competitors. I do look at their Google reviews because the complaints of clients helps me to know what to work on and make sure that, that I'm doing well and make sure that we're not falling prey to it. And what's interesting is you find that people in the same industry tend to share the same challenges. Okay. And the competitors' clients' complaints would actually mirror that. And then you can be like, okay, this is one area where we definitely need to make sure we're standing out. But to look at them, see what they're doing, what they're selling, because it's a slippery slope. Like there's just nowhere, it's never going to end.
That's their season. Everybody's journey is different.
Absolutely. So, and there are things that you do brilliantly well that other people may not be able to do. So, hey, let's just own it. What's a mantra or practice that you use? Like, do you have a mantra or a practice you use when you're in a... Okay.
I say it almost every day. Please, I cannot come and keep myself. That's literally, if there's a way I can get it tattooed.
I love that.
That's literally. and it's funny because it's something we hear and a joke, but it's true. Like, what I can do is what I can do. Mm-hmm. After that, please.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's given a lot of calmness and relaxation and a stress-free life.
Yeah.
Which is really how we're supposed to live.
I've seen what stress can do to individuals, like in my family, like physically and mentally. And so I think because of that, my mindset is like, I have to be intentional about not stressing. Even today I was trying to find my way here and I was like, I got stuck at this place. I'm like, wait, I have to turn around. And I felt like my body started getting hot. I was like, in this cold London, I'm hot. I said, no. I just said, let me calm down. Mm-mm. I left on time. I gave myself enough time. And unfortunately, this is just a situation. So all I can do is try to get there and do what I can do.
And it worked out perfectly fine. You did in the end.
I was like, how am I hot? I'm working out.
Absolutely. What advice will you give to someone who is trying to find their voice as a content creator, for example, or even just to build a platform doing whatever it is they do best?
I would say the two key things are authenticity and consistency.
I love that.
You know, because like we talked about, if you're seeing somebody else's platform and you're seeing what they're doing and you try to do it like them, people can tell.
Yeah.
People know it's not you.
Yeah.
You know, just be yourself and be patient and don't compare yourself. And when you're consistent, you know, you're going to reap something.
That's
People
right.
are going to notice. You keep throwing something to a wall, something that's going
something
to
will
stick.
stick. Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, so that's what I would say.
You're preaching to me. That's a lesson for me, especially the consistency part.
Yeah.
I do struggle with that, I have to confess. And I think it's because I have we all have multitudes of gifts, and maybe because I practice a lot of self-reflection, I'm keenly aware of what I'm capable of doing.
Right.
And so when I'm busy minding my own business, doing one thing, another idea is going to jump right in and say, but you can also do this, Tux. And then I'm like, okay, let's start doing that. And so I can be all over the place, but I do need to learn to be more consistent. So thank you for that. What do you want to leave behind as a legacy? Ooh. I know you're still so young, but moving forward, like when you think what some 50, 60, 70, even 80 years from now, what do you want people to say about you?
Well, besides, you know, bringing joy and laughter, I'm one of those individuals that I like to set a goal and go for it. Like if something has been put on your heart and it hasn't, you know, gone anywhere, there may be, you know, God might be trying to tell you, hey, you may need to pursue this thing. And so I want to live a fearless life. Or even if I do experience fear, because I'm still human, I want to do it scared and do it anyway. Because I realize that me going for that, whatever that thing is, and me pushing through and being consistent and going for it is going to encourage somebody else to go through something. That's right. You know, whether I feel like, oh my gosh, it's too late for me, or oh, that's past my time, or whatever. Me doing that is going to encourage someone. Maybe they're trying to, you know, go back into law school and they feel like they're too old, and they say, wow, you know, Beverly has done this. Maybe I can, you know, she's encouraged me to do this as well. Yes. And so I want to really inspire people and just encourage them, like, live this life to the fullest. And by that, I don't mean, you know, hustle and work yourself to the ground. True. Let it be meaningful. You know, live intentionally. I think that's the thing. Be intentional about everything.
Absolutely. And I think you're doing that beautifully well already, because you're already an inspiration. You are already authentic. You're already consistent. And people are being inspired. When you mentioned that people will DM you and say, can you do this? It reminded me of a story Chimamanda said where she, can't remember which of her books it was. I think it was Americana. And she had gone to Nigeria and she met this cleaner. And this cleaner was, or maybe it was in the US, I can't remember. But anyway, they said to her, hey, I really loved, I don't remember the name of the protagonist now in the book, but I really loved her story. But I think that it should have ended this way. And I think that maybe next time when you write another one, you can take her character in a different direction. And she said she was so touched by that, because what had happened was these people had taken on her book and her characters as theirs, and they could see themselves in it. They were already helping her to go in a direction that was unique to them. And the fact that they took it so personally meant so much to her. So I think it's the same when people will send you a message and say, can you do this? They're not sending it to just anyone. They're sending it to you. And because they can see that in you, you've got the ability to create this character and to help me tell this story that I can tell myself. And I think there's nothing more powerful than giving people the ability to have a voice and tell their own story, because everyone's got a story. We do a series our Instagram lives called What's Your Rockstar Story? Because a rockstar story is really the story of your life, with all of its challenges and regrets and wins and the things that you would have normalized as, oh, that just happened, but really was a win because of where you were at the time it happened. And so we allow people to tell their stories, or encourage people to tell their story. It is so powerful. Wow. It is. It's absolutely powerful, telling people your story as well. So tell us something about you that's surprising that no one knows.
Oh, I kind of said it earlier. The whole only child thing.
Yes.
Let me see. I don't know. I'm a huge dog person. I don't know. But that's what I wanted to say for later, but it just fits so well into the story.
The fact that you were an only child for such a long time.
Yeah. And it's in African households, that's just not a common thing.
You're right. So have you got a baby brother or sister?
Brother.
Oh, really?
15 years old.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're also his. Does he really look up to you like my big sister?
He does. He'll come and talk to me and be telling me things that are going on in school and crushes.
So
I said,
sweet.
Please focus on your books, I think.
That's so sweet, because in the way that you had mentioned about your aunties and there are people that you would say things to that you may not necessarily tell your parents, I'm sure it's the way that he also sees you.
Yeah. And I try to be that person, because sometimes our parents know the doom.
Yeah, no.
You can't be as open to them. So
True.
I try to, give him that freedom.
Yes.
To come and talk to me about something like that.
Yeah.
So, but I'm also teaching him boundaries.
Yeah, that's right.
Because one thing I'm learning about boys are just a little bit more selfish.
Boy.
And so there'll be some times where I'll come straight from, if I'm coming from work, I'm just really, really tired. And as soon as I walk in that door, that's when he wants to ask me all these things and all these questions. And I have to tell them, you see that, I just came back from work.
Give me some time.
Give me some time.
Yeah.
And so I'm teaching him, hey, be considerate about other people, because it's not only about what you want to say. You have to think about, okay, is my sister in the best mood and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Really, really sweet. So, what's one book or blog that you're reading? First of all, what's your favorite book? What's a book that you like? This book, I would read it over and over again.
Gosh, I know this book. It's a dream. Oh my gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue. It's a dreamer book. I can Google it for you.
Okay.
It's red. I know this book. The book that I'm reading now is called Mindset.
Oh, okay.
Right. And so I'm just in a season where I'm trying to discipline myself just more. And, I do a pretty good job of being consistent, but I'm like, there are areas of my life that I need to be more disciplined.
Yes, yeah.
I do. And so even though I'm doing well in these areas, I'm like, but I need to be disciplined in this area. And a lot of times, it comes with, okay, I need to take a break. Social media, take a break. And that gives me time to just reset and refocus so I can focus on the things I need to get done.
Yeah.
Because as much as I love social media, it's not healthy to be on it all the time.
You're right. It isn't. It certainly isn't.
The Circle Maker. That's what it is.
I haven't read that, but I've heard so much.
I know this book. I've read it more than once.
Really? Yeah. The Circle Maker. What's the Circle Maker about?
The Circle Maker is about, he really tells a story about a man that believed in rain. Like he was believing for it to rain. Everybody thought he was crazy. Yes. And then so he drew the circle and then he prayed and asked God and said, okay, God, I'm going to stay in this circle until it rains. And then the rain ended up coming, but he also goes into tell just different stories about how this individual pursued their goal and how they had different challenges. They had their family wanting to keep them back, for them to stay in their comfort zone, but they kept going into the unknown. And at some point, they hit a challenge. They were like, maybe I should just go back. Maybe I should go back. And so it's a really inspiring.
Okay, so The Circle Maker, definitely going to read that because I've heard people refer to it multiple times. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a book that came to mind. Have you read Caged Bird? Maya Angelou's. When you were describing the fact that you want to live abroad and the fact that you studied in Spain and all of that, and you've lived in Colombia as well, and all the different gifts that you have and stylists and beauty and all of that stuff, she came to mind because she was one person who lived a life that sounds very much like the life that you're living or that you see yourself living, where she lived in multiple countries and she traveled. You would absolutely love that book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Caged Bird.
I know why the Caged Bird Sing thing is a full title.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your superpower?
I mean, I feel like with humor, but I will say other than humor, I have this tendency to kind of look deep into people. And so, for example, if I see someone, I don't know if this is a superpower, but if I see someone going through, now, did you want an actual superpower or just?
No, this is it. Yeah.
So, we'll see things happening on social media. Let's say somebody's acting crazy. And so I try not to just be like, oh, that girl's out of line. I try to say, okay, she's hurt.
Yes.
She's, and I try to sympathize and empathize with people,
yeah,
because oftentimes we just kind of judge
that's right
that book, and we don't know that girl, she's been hurt by so many people. That's why she's behaving like that. So
absolutely,
whenever I encounter people, and even if they may act funny or anyway towards me, I try to just think that you don't know what this person has been through. So
that's
don't be
true.
so quick. Let's cover.
It really does help. It helps to know why.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can just assume.
Yeah.
And it helps you to kind of communicate with them and deal with them and so on.
Yeah.
I've had situations where I've been offended by people, and the way that I deal with it is like, for me, I think my number one thing is always, she's probably just insecure. And I'm sure people are like, is everyone insecure, Tokes? Maybe not, but there is an insecurity about something.
Right.
So even if they've been hurt multiple times by people, there is an insecurity about how they present, how people are receiving them, or how people are going to treat them. And so people really do put up walls and barriers and so on, that your goodwill may bounce off and hit you in the face. But it is just, there's more beyond that. So that's a beautiful superpower to have.
That's right. Sometimes I just say, maybe they're just mad. So when I know that they're mad, I just do them.
Oh, Lord. I hear you on that. Absolutely. How does your faith help you?
Oh, man. I would say that is the core. That is the basis. That's the reason for who I am.
Yeah.
And so, someone that's posting on social media, I think in today's age, it's kind of not taboo, but when people hear that you're a believer, they kind of like,
they judge you.
I'm like, the reason you love my comedy, the reason you love the things that I do is God. I can't. Yeah. There's no denying it, right? You can't have me like, okay, I like your humor, but don't talk. It comes with the package.
That's right.
And it also helps me with my decision making. So if I get like a message from this person that wants to work with me, then I instead of just being so excited and jumping into it, I'm like, I have to take a step back, and pray about it. Now I definitely need to do a better job of praying about every single, even the little things. Yeah. But really taking a step back, okay, is this something that is going to honor God? Does it make sense?
That's
is it something
so
that's going to cause me to have to like waver in my beliefs? And that's why I love boundaries, and I love, walking this walk with the Lord. Yeah. Because otherwise, I'll just be taking whatever seems good.
That's right, on the surface.
And everything that's good is not necessarily from God.
Yeah.
That it's not necessarily God.
That's right, yeah.
And so it definitely helps.
That's good.
And then also it keeps me grounded, having people also that are believers as well that keep close to me. It keeps me grounded, because with this social media thing, you can get beside yourself. And so that's why, and another book that I love is Boundaries. But you hear me talk about boundaries a lot, but you get beside yourself. So you need people to hold you accountable. And that's why I get to a point where I'm like, okay, been spending a little bit too much time on social media. It's time to unplug. Yeah. And let me get back to the word. Let me see what God is saying, because all these distractions, all this,
many voices.
I need to go ahead and, kind of reset myself. And then that helps.
Yeah.
And it helps me to not feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not posting. People are gonna start unfollowing. Maybe they also follow them.
They can go.
Because I'm not doing it for them.
That's right.
And that's what helps to keep me going, right?
Absolutely.
So that's why I can take a break for 2 weeks and come back and be like, oh, okay, cool.
Just carry on.
Yeah.
I agree with you, because being a Christian means that you're connected to a limitless God. And it means that your creativity is also limitless. Like there's really no end to it. It's not possible. It doesn't end. And the way that we measure things of value is very different from the way that the world measures value, whereby the world would measure in terms of using tangible skills, like number of followers, how much applause you have, how many awards you've won, where you're being seen at, which celebrity is standing next to you in the photograph, and all of that stuff. Those are human, or those are natural, I guess, standard measures of success. Whereas success for us Christians is not always physical. No. There's success that happens in the unseen realm, where there is growth going on, and there is, productivity, and you're investing into your future, and you're creating. I think the best part of it is the fact that as a Christian, you're a creator. Right. The Bible says that we're co-creators with Christ. So you're actually creating, and creation is really physically manifesting the thing that's not seen, so that other people can see and enjoy it. And that's what you're doing. Like you're bringing something that's unseen. Nobody knows what's going on in that mind of yours. We can't. We don't know. We don't know how many conversations you're having.
90% of the time is about plantain.
Listen, that's another area we've bonded on.
Yeah.
Plantain.
Yes.
I love my dodo.
And if you just see me looking, I'm thinking of
You're
plantain.
thinking of it. A world without plantain would be a very sad world.
Yeah. No.
How do you like your plantain?
Ooh. Okay. So I like it right. Not when it's too yellow. I need a little sweetness.
Yes,
but
yes,
not where
yes.
it's
But not so
too
dark.
ripe to where
Okay.
it's super soft. And
Yes,
just, like I need
yes.
that in between.
Mm.
That's my. In fact, the one I'm
That
thinking
you're
about
never
that I'm
thinking
gonna
about.
eat today, I said, God, let them get it right.
So do you like it fried or cooked? Like we've been told not to fry. So would you like it brown or do you like it just golden yellow?
More on the brown.
Yeah, me
Yes,
too.
but I like it like how I like my men. So.
We're gonna have a plant. This is turning into a plantain. Oh, right. I hear you. Okay, so this is turning into a plantain podcast, and we're gonna marry you off very soon. Don't worry, it's gonna happen. So, do you cut your plantain in the oval shape, or do you make it?
I don't know. I feel like when you cut it round, it tastes different.
It tastes.
It don't taste the same.
Do you salt it at all?
Half and half.
Okay.
But not really.
If
I do, it'll be like when it's
already
frying
cooked. Oh,
okay,
really? Then you just put it in.
Just sprinkle. Please,
Okay. We don't want to have that. No.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's nothing quite. So, what do you eat plantains with?
Stew.
Okay.
I like it with stew. What else I eat with
Eggs. Yeah.
You know, the fancy eggs, all the onions. And
The Nigerian omelet.
Plantain is sweet, man. I don't know. Sometimes I just sit back and think, wow, God was thinking of me when He made plantain.
Listen, He did. He was.
And the things you can do with plantain.
Right.
People who don't eat plantain,
you feel sorry for them. No, they're really missing out.
No, but
they're missing out.
I did want to touch on what you said, but just this walk. You know, I think walking with the Lord and doing the social media thing, it helps me to not be enamored by the follower counts and celebrities and all these things, because it's not for them, right? But I think when you're not, staying close to the cross, then you look at the numbers and you think that, it's all about you.
Yes.
And, all these people are praising you
and
you get beside yourself. And so the same people that are praising you, next day they can be criticizing you.
Right.
And now your whole world crumbles because that's where your identity was from.
Oh my gosh, wow.
And so for me, it was like, okay, when I get comments, okay, praise God. But I let them roll off my back. And I'm not. So,
don't be sucked. You're not sucked into it.
Same thing with criticism, unless it's from somebody that I know. If it's just somebody that I don't know,
some random, who are you?
It is what it is. You have the right to feel the way you feel.
Absolutely.
But it definitely helps me to keep the main thing. Otherwise, honestly, I feel like I don't see how people do this without God, because you go crazy.
Listen.
And then you're always thinking, I need to go viral.
Right.
My followers. At least I don't have time.
No.
If the video wants to get 2 likes, let it get 2 likes. Let me go and sleep.
Exactly.
I don't have time. It is what it is. My goal is just to be able to use my gift to glorify God. This is the gift that God has given me. There's nothing that I can do. Like, it's just in me.
Yeah.
And so let me use it to glorify God and make an impact.
Yeah.
After that, I'll go and sleep.
Absolutely. And your gift is enough. It is powerful. It's constantly evolving. It's not tied to what's going on in the world either. There's a scripture I read this morning. Can't even remember which one what it was, but there was a scripture I read this morning that had to do with I have to find it and share it with you. But it made me think about how something you just said, we don't move along with the world, like you're doing it for God. And so your decision making and your content and your creativity and business and everything is not tied to the movements and the happenings in the world. It's literally it's vertical.
Right. And, for me, it's a way to show people that, listen, God has a sense of humor if you don't know.
He does.
Sometimes I'll just be washing dishes and we'll just put something in. I was like, God has a sense of humor if people don't know. So, I don't know. My goal is just live this life intentionally, glorify God, use my gift. And
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Beverly. This has been a great conversation.
No, it has been good. Yes.
Oh, it has been really good. Wonderful getting to know you. I'm going to do the extra separately. But thank you, my dear.
It helps to ease the stress of the trains.
Yeah, it does. It really does. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jimmy. It's a wrap.